What's up, everybody? We are back with another review. This one's a little bit different than we typically review. Normally we review action games, shooter games, multiplayer shooter and action games, stuff like that. Today, we're going in a different direction. We are talking about the new Skate game. I had access to it in the NDA phase of the beta and testing period. I didn't play it. I didn't play it until this un-NDA'd early access came out, and it goes into actual early access for the full public on September 16th. But I've put in 8 to 10 hours on it so far, and I did not play the previous Skate games. I played Tony Hawk games growing up, especially Underground 2, and American Wasteland. I played some Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, but I was more of a Tony Hawk person growing up, and then I just didn't want to play skate games anymore or skateboarding games after American Wasteland. So this is the first skateboard game I've played since American Wasteland. About 2 years ago, I did replay American Wasteland, but I haven't played any skateboard game since. And so it's coming from somebody who has no expectations going into this, really, and is not familiar with the skate franchise. So if you're somebody who loves skate, has been playing skateboarding video games the whole time, please feel free in the comments to point out where I'm wrong about things or a different perspective maybe I should look at things, because one, this isn't the typical type of game review, and two, this is the first skate game I've ever played. So Skate, and it's not Skate 4, it's just all lowercase Skate with a period, is really just an open world semi-multiplayer. There is no story mode. It's just going to be this online free skating world, and there's challenges you can do, and you can unlock cosmetics. You can get a lot of cosmetics for free. I haven't paid for anything, but everything that I have in the play behind me is not the default skateboard, not the default shoes or clothing. It's all cosmetics that I got for free. As you get challenges, you can do challenges, and then you have a currency you earn from that you can go get random loot boxes at the skate shops and get stuff that way. And you can get plenty of cosmetics for free. So this game is free to play, and you don't have to spend any money on microtransactions. But I'm rambling too much without getting into my typical format, where we go through the cons, the so-sos, and then try to finish on a high note with the pros. Let's go ahead and start doing that. The cons is the tutorial length is way too long. I was an hour and a half before I really broke out of the tutorial mode, and then there keeps being tutorial modes as you unlock the different areas of the city. And I haven't unlocked the last part of the city, but I've unlocked, there's one part of the city that you have unlocked. I've unlocked another part of the city, and then there's one that's not unlockable yet, and I'm sure that will be when the full public release of early access comes out, or sometime after that. But then I have one more part, but you have to finish 250 challenge points, and that takes a bit of time. But like I said, I'm 8 to 10 hours in, and there's still tutorial parts to do, and it's just way too much tutorial, especially it's an hour and a half before you get to really break out of the tutorial mode. Now, you can ignore it and you can skate around, but your AI assistant V will probably keep annoying you. And honestly, I forgot to put that in cons, but the AI assistant is annoying. There's an AI assistant V, and V just talks constantly while you're skating around. So that's not on the cons, but that's also annoying, is V talks way too much. Another con I have is the cars in the world. The cars can run you over, and that's it on your interaction. You can't grind on them. You can't stall on them. You can't really do anything with them. They just kind of exist to be in your way and run you over. And there's no skitching. If you played the Tony Hawk games previously, especially the open world ones, the Undergrounds and American Wasteland, you could skitch on cars, and that was a lot of fun. And skitching on cars was one of my favorite things to do. But you could also grind on the cars. You could stall on the cars. The cars are just in this world to get in your way, so that was annoying. The other con I have is the camera. There's no way to control the camera with the way the controls are in Skate. Where in Tony Hawk, it was hit buttons. I grew up playing those on PlayStation, and it was X to ollie, and then square and circle were different types of tricks. They were grabs and flip tricks, and then triangle was your grind button. And then you also used, you either did button combos or used your right thumbstick to, I guess, I don't remember. Did you use your right thumbstick? That might have been purely camera control. but we'll talk about the controls more. But there's no way to control your camera. When you're off your board, you can use your right thumbstick to control your camera and look around, but as soon as you're on your board, you can't. And the camera often gets stuck at these weird angles, and it fixes itself fairly quickly, but it often gets stuck at weird angles where your character isn't centered anymore, or sometimes you're really close, and sometimes you're like close and like kind of looking up at your character. Sometimes you're like close and looking down, and the camera just gets put in these weird angles based off of like if a wall's behind you or certain ways you land, and it does end up correcting itself, but there's no way to control the camera. So those are the cons. Moving on to the so-sos. The first one is the challenges. The challenges are kind of the backbone of this, other than just skating around the world. It's how you unlock the areas of the city that are locked. It's how you level up areas to get fast travel spots. It's how you unlock the currency to get the loot boxes to get more cosmetics. So the challenges are kind of the backbone, and so they're important to the game. And it's good that there is challenges, because otherwise it would just be, hey, go skate around, and that would be the game, and it wouldn't last very long. I don't think people would get a lot of playtime, but challenges give you something to do, right? Why the challenges are in the so-so is the challenges don't really change. There is a lot of challenges, so you could go, you could play every day for a couple hours and not touch the same challenge for days, but challenges will refresh so you can earn more challenge points. But what's required of those challenges don't change. There's not like challenges that shift so they're in different locations every day. The challenges just reset after a time period. And none of them are exactly the same, but they're all pretty similar. And so it's just kind of whatever. And they're just kind of boring and not super entertaining. So the challenges are good because it gives you something to do in the world, and it helps you unlock things, but it's so-so because they get really repetitive and boring at times. So moving on to the pros, the first one is customization. A lot of people are upset that it's random loot boxes, but you can spend money and get specific items as they come in the shop, but you get a lot of things that you can customize. You can change your shirt, your shorts, your pants, your socks, your shoes, your grip tape pattern, the color of your board, your trucks, your wheels, and you can add stickers. There is a lot of customization to your board and your character. Not to mention, you can customize the looks of your character, hair, facial features, size, gender, skin color. There's a lot of customization with the character, and then with the character's accessories and board. And in a game, especially that's free to play and doesn't have a story to offer, I think customization is even more important, so you can have as much of a unique experience as possible. And there's a lot of customization. Another pro I have in here is that there is a tutorial. I'm somebody who was new to skate, and something I thought about putting on my cons or the so-sos was the control scheme, which I'm not a fan of. But that might just be because I'm used to the Tony Hawk way of doing things, and so I didn't want to put that on there as a con or a so-so because it's just me not being used to it. Whereas if you've been a skate veteran, that's where the controls have been, and you might really like it. And so for me, it was more of, hey, I should just adapt instead of complaining about it. So the fact that there is a tutorial is good, because if you haven't played Skate, your right thumbstick, or I guess it's right thumbstick on both controllers. Your right thumbstick is your tricks way you flick it, holding it down slightly to manual, just flicking it to ollie or nollie, flicking it to the left or the right. Doing like a half circle, flicking in all these different directions gives you all these different tricks, as well as left bumper and right bumper, and holding a button with that, or Y to caveman. But 90% of your tricks are going to be through that right thumbstick. And being somebody new to skate, the tutorial was definitely needed, and all the different tutorial missions are definitely helpful. Another pro I put on here was the session marker. So, part of this game is that you can get almost anywhere in the world fairly easily, but it might be a pain to get there, right? It might take forever, or it might not be super difficult, but it might not be super easy. You might not want to climb back up something. And you can set a session marker. So if you're jumping off that building, or you're afraid you're going to fall off, or you are at one of the skate park areas and you want to try to hit a cool line, and you don't want to have to keep skating back if you fall or fail or whatever, you can just go right back to your session marker, and that's nice. Something that's a minor pro on here, but something I really enjoyed, is the ragdoll physics of Skate. It cracks me up when you don't even fall that hard and your body just flops literally like a ragdoll, or when you jump off a tall building and you bounce high off the ground and ragdoll everywhere. The ragdoll physics are just fun and goofy. There's not a lot to say about them. Another pro I had is climbing. Like I mentioned, you can go pretty much anywhere here. And I like the climbing aspect because it's just more interactive versus like in like Tony Hawk games where you were going to a top building, you would go into an elevator, hit the button, the screen would go black for a second, and then you would be coming out of the elevator on like a roof or whatever. And you couldn't just climb up there. It was the only way up. So it just makes the game more immersive when you have to climb up there. And some buildings are really easy to climb up. Some you have to find the route a little more. And I just liked the climbing in this game. Another pro I have on here is collecting music. So there's already a decent soundtrack with decent songs. And you can just use that or listen to that music. But the collectible in this game, besides customization for clothing and skateboard and all that, is you'll see these like dots in a circle and then a circle around that of those dots that's like pulsing, and you can go over that and you can collect that music, and now that's more music that it's in your soundtrack, and that's like the collectible in this game. And I just think that's like a fun collectible. I had another pro that I forgot to write down that I'm not thinking of. There was one more. It's obviously not that big of a deal if I can't remember. These kind of go hand in hand. Is first of all, you unlock more as you go, but you can place ramps and rails and kickboxes and quarter pipe pieces. You can go anywhere and set up your own park, which is fun. You could set up ramps on top of a roof so you can go flying off of a roof. And there's other people pieces as well within your world that are like in your lobby. And then also on top of that, if somebody places a ramp somewhere that you don't want, you can't delete it, but you can go over there and make it essentially deactivated in your world. So that way you don't have to have it there, but you're not deleting somebody else's ramp. And then connected to that is there's like community skate park areas for people to build skate parks together. And I think that's really cool as well. So that's my cons, my so-sos, and my pros. My cons with the tutorials can be too long and kind of a slog. Cars are useless in this world and only serve to get in your way or run you over. Now, they will be adding tricks as the seasons come, so maybe we'll get skitching. Maybe you'll be able to grind on cars at some point, but it's something I would like to see. And my other con was that there's no camera controls, and the camera gets stuck in awkward places, and you can't fix it when you're on your board. The so-so added challenges. Challenges are important to the way this game operates, but they can get pretty repetitive and boring, and the challenges don't refresh. And I think that's another thing that's coming in future updates is more challenges. And hopefully it'll be like, hey, these challenges get removed after a time period and replaced with these ones. And then in a day or two, those ones get removed and get re-replaced with the original ones or the next set of ones, and so on and so forth. And then the pros I have was there's a lot of customization. The tutorials are needed for people that are new to the skate franchise like me because the controls are way different than the Tony Hawk games. The session markers are nice. You can keep getting back to the same place instantly. The ragdoll physics are fun. The climbing makes the game more immersive and fun. And collecting music is a fun collectible. And then also being able to add ramps and rails and kickboxes, whatever, all of them out, plus the community skate parks. One of the things I did not touch on, which I touch on a lot in reviews, is graphics. I like the graphics. I like the way the game looks. But the graphics are pretty simple, which is not a bad thing, especially in this setting. You know, I think graphics are much more important in an immersive, like, single-player game than they are just, like, a fun virtual skate world, when that's all this is. People have called it a mobile game. I think this would be a high-end looking mobile game. Personally, people have called it the Fortnite-ification of Skate. Now, I didn't play the previous Skate game, so I don't want to speak on that, but this game is supposed to be light and fun and a way to hang out with friends online, or just, you know, something to play on your lunch break if you have the opportunity. Not saying that I would, or just, hey, I got 30 minutes before dinner, before bed, before I hang out with my significant other or my friends, whatever. I just want to jump on and have some fun. That's what this game is. So having some simple but just like clean looking graphics that are maybe like mobile plus, fine with me. So I didn't. You know, that's a big complaint from the skate community, but I'm not really part of that community, so I don't want to, like, step on the toes and be like, you're all wrong. But also, I can see where they're coming from. That's one of the main things I didn't touch on. And people also have the problem with the loot boxes. I'm fine. It's free cosmetics. You're not paying for them. You're not paying for these loot boxes, or you don't have to. So you're not gambling your money and getting cosmetics you don't like. But overall, I think it's fun. It's not something I'm going to stream or really create content on. But like I said, if I have, like, 30 minutes before I hang out with my fiance, or whatever, I just got like a small pocket of free time and I just want to play something and chill, this something that's good to play and chill. So it's hard to give this a rating because I don't have a good background. I haven't played skateboard games. I'll give it a rating. Typically, I have more of a basis on what I rate games on, so I'm happy to give a rating. Here, I'm a little tentative. I'm going to go with like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Like I said, I don't really want to give it a hardcore rating, but I think it's something fun to jump on. It's not super impressive. There's obviously some issues I have with it, and those things could get fixed as seasons come and they promise new tricks, new things added to the game, new cosmetics. There's a lot. They have a roadmap out there somewhere, and there's a lot they're planning on adding to the game throughout the seasons of the game. No single player story mode definitely hurts this game a little bit because that's one of the fun of the skate games. You know, you kind of rise up through the ranks of the skate world, and that missing is unfortunate. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about Skate. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like this type of content and want to see it first. And I have my Twitch link down below, as well as all my social medias, including my car social media and car YouTube channel, and my single player replay YouTube channel. So if any of that interests you, want to support me anywhere else, I really appreciate support anywhere. Well, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.